I'd like to call the City Cortez Council regular meeting Tuesday, May 12, 2026 to order. If you would all join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have the roll call.
Randall?
Here.
Osborne?
Here.
West?
Here.
Lewis?
Here.
Swope? Wolf?
Here.
Sproul?
Here. Going to go to item number 2, which is our consent agenda. Do we have an approval agenda for?
I move that council approve the agenda as presented for May 12th, 2026.
Second.
Motion by Randall, seconded by Lewis.
Wolf?
Yes.
Swope?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Randall?
Yes.
Osborne?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Sproul?
Yes. The consent agenda. The listing under consent agenda is a group of items to be acted on with a single motion and vote. This agenda is designed to expedite the handling of limited routine matters by City Council. Either the public or a council member may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda at that time prior to council's vote. I will ask if a citizen or council member wishes to have any specific item removed from the consent agenda for discussion. 2A, approval of the meeting minutes for April 28, 2026. B, approval of the expenditure list for May 12, 2026. C, approval of renewal application for a retail marijuana store license for Southwest Sunshine LLC, DBA Doobie Sisters, located at 695 North Broadway, Cortez. D, approval of renewal application and change of manager for a fermented malt beverage and liquor license for Maverick Incorporated, DBA Maverick number 497, located at 455 State Street, Cortez. E, approval of a special event permit to allow Heritage Fundraising Incorporated to host a special event on May 16th, 2026 from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. at 107 North Chestnut Street in Cortez. F, approval of the change in premises of application for El Burro Pancho LLC, DBA Gustavo's Authentic Mexican Restaurant Bar, located at 125 East Main Street, Cortez. Does any council member have anything they would like removed from the agenda?
I don't have anything I would like to remove, but I have a conflict of interest with item number C on the consent agenda, so I will be recusing myself from this vote.
I move that council approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Before we do that, do we have anybody from the public? Okay. Motion made by Randall, seconded by Lewis.
West?
Yes.
Swope?
Yes.
Osborne?
Yes.
Randall?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Sproul?
Yes. Item number 3 is public participation. Individuals may not comment on items that are on this council agenda during the public participation time. There is no limit to the number of speakers, although public comments will be held to an overall time limit of 30 minutes. Speakers have a time limit of 3 minutes per person, may only speak once, and may not cede time to another commenter. Please, commenter. If you put a card in to speak tonight and that item is on the agenda, I have 3 in front of me right here. You will be called during the agenda item, so you do not need to speak now if you're speaking about the agenda item. Okay? Does anybody have anything that's not on the agenda they'd like to speak about? Okay, we'll move on to item number 4, presentations. We have none. Public hearings. 5A, Resolution number 9, Series 2026, public hearing on a conditional use permit application for a permanent accessory structure that exceeds the maximum square feet allowed in code for property located at 1626 Rolling Road, Cortez, zoned residential R1. Our presenter is Jason Armstrong, the interim director on community and economic development city planner.
I have a conflict of interest with this agenda item. I don't know if I should leave now, but I was going to recuse myself from voting.
If you're going to recuse yourself from voting, I think it'd probably be appropriate to go ahead and leave the dais.
Okay.
Correct.
You're up, Jason.
All right. Evening, Council, Mayor. Tonight we bring before you City Council Resolution Number 9, Series 2026, and this will be a public hearing on a conditional use permit application for a permanent accessory structure that exceeds the maximum square feet allowed in code for property located at 1626 Rolling Road, Cortez, zoned residential R1. So, Mike and Sherry Franchini are requesting a conditional use permit to construct a new garage for vehicle and RV storage on their existing property located at 1626 Rolling Road. Accessory buildings that are proposed to be larger than 800 square feet are required to obtain a conditional use permit. So, Planning Department findings. The property is zoned single-family R1 and is surrounded on all sides with R1 zone properties, all with predominantly residential uses. Let me go ahead and scroll up here so you guys can get a look at what we're talking about. So here's the Franchini's property. But they did provide a site plan that I think would be most revealing for you guys to take a look at here. I need to make it just a little bit smaller so you can see the whole thing. Okay, here we go. So the proposed garage is to be 1,600 square feet or double the maximum size allowed as a permitted use by code, necessitating the conditional use permit. The structure is proposed for personal storage, including RV and perhaps a work craft space. So as a reminder to council and the community, the use of the structure as stated by the applicant is consistent with the uses allowed in this zoning. If a new use, such as a commercial use, is contemplated in the future, the property owner will need to obtain the proper permits at that time. The proposed garage is made of metal that is larger, and it is larger than most garages in the city. However, the lot is significantly larger than most at 1.29 acres. The proposed height of the garage is 16 feet at the highest point. This is similar or lower than the existing single-story home with a peaked roof on the property. The garage is proposed at a lower elevation than the existing home, which will further limit the impact of the new garage. So beyond the total square footage that would be addressed by the conditional use permit, the structure as proposed meets all the dimensional standards for R1 zone properties, including height, lot coverage, and setbacks from property lines. It's kind of secondary. Although this isn't directly related to the application, there is a shed, and I put an arrow on the diagram here. There's an existing shed for the property. The shed was built by the previous owner in the road right-of-way / irrigation easement located directly east of the property line. The easement is not currently in use as a road, but serves as an easement for the Cortez lateral. So given that the shed appears to have been accidentally built off the property in a public use easement, and the correct permits were obtained from the city will not at this time require the shed to be moved. Should the city, the ditch company, or a public utility need the property in the future, the shed will need to be removed at that time. I will also note in closing the Planning Department findings that the Planning and Zoning Commission did not recommend approval of the conditional use permit due to concerns with the size of the structure. So closing out the staff findings, I'll provide you guys with the alternatives this evening. So first one, council can approve the conditional use permit through Resolution 9, Series 2026 for a permanent accessory structure that exceeds the maximum square foot allowed at property located at 1626 Rolling Road in residential single family R1 zone as submitted by Mike and Sherry Franchini, or the council can deny the application for the conditional use permit and state its reasons. Or the council can ask for more information and continue the hearing to a date certain, or can table the application, or the council can approve Resolution 9, Series 2026, a resolution approving the conditional use permit with conditions as stated in the resolution, and state any conditions it feels would be necessary to ensure compliance with the land use code. So based on the objective findings, staff can recommend that council approve Resolution 9, Series 2026 with the conditions as stated in the resolution. I'd like to point out that the property owners are here. If they would like to get up and speak on behalf of their application, you could do that right now if you want to do that.
Hi, I'm Mike Franchini. We bought this property from Sherry's mom and dad that passed away, and he'd always wanted a garage out there, put his cars in, and we also do. So we put in for the conditional use permit. Planning and zoning said everything was green all over, everything was good, but then there are neighbors, I guess, that are mad because they can't see the mountains or something now. But I didn't know that that had anything to do with the size of a garage on a property. I just like to take that, have that into consideration, that a visual, I don't think, is anywhere in the law that states that you can stop somebody from building a property because they're blocking your view of something. And that's really all I have to say on it.
So if council has any questions for staff?
I have two questions, Jason, if you will. First, I'm wondering how big the primary, like the square footage of the residence is? Because in the code, it states that a garage cannot be more than 33% of the total home.
Correct. Let me look that up for you really quickly. Put that in there. I'm going to have to look that up for you. Just give me a second here.
Maybe Mr. Franchini can tell us what the square footage is of the,
Yeah, do you happen to know off the top of your head? Yeah. Forgive me, our contract plan.
So for 1,600 square feet to be 33% of the total residence, the home would need to be at least 4,800 square feet in size. So my concern is against the code in that regard. And then my second question is about the combination of the lots. In the code, it also requires that a build be on a single lot. And I see that your proposal crosses lots 1 and 3. Did you have those legally combined into a single plat?
You want to come up?
Jason, you need to have any speakers come up to the mic.
Exactly. You want to come up and answer questions, you can do that. Go ahead.
I can move the shop or the garage anywhere. If it's gotta have to be in one lot, I can move it and put it in the center of a lot. I was just putting it there because it was about even with the back of the house, so it'd make it look better, because it'd match up, not instead of just moving it around randomly, but that's the only reason I had it on that. But I can put it in the center of the lot. I think it's 1 or 2, I don't remember, but.
Thank you. And then I guess I do have one final question, Jason. In the R1 zoning category, do builds need to be a stick build? What qualifies as that?
We don't have any design standards. And to your first question, conditional use That's what allows you to exceed those dimensional standards. So that's what the application is all about this evening.
Is there a permit for if it's over 30%?
Yes, it includes, yeah, it's
includes?
either over 800 square feet or the 33%.
Jason, I have a question. So when I look at this, correct me if I'm wrong, there's 4 lots there. Does that 33% apply to this because there's 4 lots? Isn't that 33% based on one lot? So
Correct.
again, correct me if I'm wrong. So the Franchini family could put in their permits and build 2 separate buildings at 800 square feet and not even go through this process. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, that would be true. They could also determine that they want to consolidate those lots through a minor subdivision application, which does not come before council.
Okay, and they could also build 2 homes on those lots as well? Is
I
that
mean,
correct?
theoretically, if the, depending on the size of the,
Yeah. But they could build a 2-story house on one of those?
yeah, as long as they meet the height standards for that
Standards,
zone
right.
district, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
I want to make sure that I'm clear.
Yes, sir.
If the 30% has to be 30% of the structure, correct? Or less than?
Of the total square footage of the principal structure, which is typically the,
Okay. And the permit that we would, if we were to issue, covers that as well?
correct, sir.
I have a question. On your hand-drawn plat that you had your building on, your 4040 building on, is that pretty much to scale on that, yeah, pretty close? Okay.
Jason, please have him come up to the microphone.
Sorry.
I think it is to scale. The contractor that's gonna be building this, if it goes through, he took it home and drew that in, so I'm sure it's pretty close to scale.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody from the public that would like to make comments? I think I have a couple of cards here. Go ahead. Please state your name and your address.
Good evening. My name is Craig Diamond, and I reside at 1818 Center Street, Cortez. So I'm here tonight to respectfully oppose the conditional use permit for 1626 Rolling Road. I want to acknowledge up front that this is not easy. I don't like public speaking, and I don't believe it's my place to tell neighbors what they can or cannot do on their own property. And I recognize the Franchini family has a large lot and legitimate storage needs. However, participating in this process is exactly what these hearings are for, and the reason I'm here is the scale of this request. So the code establishes a maximum of 800 square feet for accessory structures in R1 zones. This application proposes 1,600 square feet, doubling that limit. The conditional use process exists for reasonable exceptions, not to routinely double the size the code allows. I'm also concerned about the precedent and the effect on the surrounding property values. Oversized accessory structures, even on larger lots, can signal to buyers and appraisers that neighborhood standards are inconsistently enforced. If the commission approves structures twice the code maximum, it raises a fair question: where does the line get drawn? The code exists for a reason, and I'd like the commission to uphold it tonight. Thank you for your time.
Anybody else want to make public comment? You don't have to.
Okay. Just start whenever. Okay. Good evening. My name is Emma, and I live at 1702 Rolling Road, directly across from the proposed site structure. I'd first like to clarify something important that I do not believe is fully reflective in the staff report. While our mailing address is on Rolling Road, the architectural front of my home in the primary view of my living area is directly onto Knoll Road. And this isn't a visual impact, it's mostly just an issue with the size of this structure. I want to again focus on that size, the placement, and the visual impact of what this causes in our neighborhood, in an R1 zone neighborhood. This is not a typical backyard hidden by a resident. It is an open lot. The property is on the prominent corner of Rolling Road and Knoll. Because of this location, this structure would not only affect the adjacent neighbors, but the overall visual character and feel of the neighborhood as a whole. The proposed structure is 16,000 square feet, the same size as many of the homes in our neighborhood. In my opinion, this is industrial in scale and appearance and far exceeds what most residents reasonably expect in an R1 residential neighborhood. Even the city's own staff report acknowledges that this structure is larger than most garages in the city and would most likely not fit in most neighborhoods in Cortez. I respectfully agree with that statement. If this structure would not likely fit in most neighborhoods in Cortez, why does it fit in mine? The fact that this is a proposal that requires a conditional use permit is important. The city already recognizes through its own zoning codes that structures of this size exceed what is normally considered appropriate for residential neighborhoods. I do not believe that a 1,600 square foot industrial style metal structure directly across from my front home is compatible with the surrounding residential character of our neighborhood. My husband and I purchased our home in August of 2025. We made that decision to invest in this neighborhood. We also did so with the understanding that this was an R1 residential area protected by established zoning standards and limitations. We made an informed financial decision believing that a structure of this scale was not legally permitted on the open lot across from our home. Now, less than a year later, I'm being asked to accept what is essentially the visual equivalent of a commercial warehouse directly in front of our property. I do not believe it is fair to homeowners who rely on the city's zoning protections when purchasing homes here in Cortez. I'm also deeply concerned about the long-term impact this could have on surrounding property values and the overall feel of our neighborhood. Introducing a highly visible industrial scale structure into the neighborhood's most visible locations changes that character completely. My concern is also about precedent. If the city approves this today, a 16,000 foot structure in an R1 neighborhood, what happens next week to similar requests? Over time, repeated expectations like this could fundamentally change residential neighborhoods throughout our community. For these reasons, I respectfully ask the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council to uphold the intent of R1 zoning protections and respectfully deny this conditional permit. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else from the public who would like to speak? Go ahead. Please state your name and your address.
My name is Susan McCool. I live at 1827 Shady Lane in the same subdivision as these folks and these folks. And I am concerned about the precedent of allowing such a large, it's not a commercial structure, but industrial, that's a good word. It's an industrial look in people's front yards, basically. The whole surrounding block will have that to look at, a big blank metal wall. The city council is supposed to enforce the codes, not exempt big projects like this, and I would be against it. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you're up.
My name's Clint Watson. I live on 1718 Center Street. I do have a shop that is a 30 by 40 in a lot and a half, which is the same as my house. The city does make you do the color, the content, everything where it doesn't look like an industrial building, as these people are saying, because it has to fit in and it has to be ethical in the community to do that. This couple here could build two 20 by 20s, still blocking the view, which this is where they brought up, which the state of Colorado here says there is no such thing as blocking a view in the state of Colorado. This is a law in Colorado. You cannot block a view unless you are an HOMA or something that does that. This is not an HOMA. I built my house over 33 years ago when it was dirt and I used to shoot prairie dogs out my front yard. I lost a lot of my vision and stuff when people moved in. Not a problem. This is what you expect when you live in a city. Mike and Sherry, they could go and build two and do the same thing without ever coming to you guys. They came to you with one of the best builders in the community, which is highly known, and Mr. Cruzan does a good job, and he will follow the rules and the laws. There will not be nothing that's illegal. Okay, I think they stated in the other one about bringing down prices. Would you be interested in these papers to look at what sits across from them? This is the house that sits right facing their home. This is what they're saying. And this is what they're saying is going to cause them a problem with house value. And I won't go into other houses there because I don't feel it's my due justice to try to implement it. I have born and raised there 5 generations. And this one they're asking for to make us bigger was put into it. Our laws were put in 1946 for this city. These were put in there. We have adapted and gone through different laws, but this has always been in. As far as building more and more and more, they have 4 lots. You cannot build it, as you said, on a 33%. So most of the lots in Cortez are 100 by 110 on the max on their lots. You start from south of Cortez, you move up, that's the old town. Very tight, very close. You come across Main Street, you're starting to hit houses that are a little bit further apart. You come a crop up further, okay, Shady Lane, these folks are 830 feet going through my house and other houses to see this. That's not the 300 that they require to be the people that's noticed around there and done. This does not affect their community. They were the last houses built. You start over on Rolling Hill Road. It was there, and I used to party on the one beside it when I was younger. And it was them houses are way older, more dilapidated. So therefore, are you going to tell them people on Rolling Hill Road, you got to update because these people on Shady Lane have a new house? That's basically what they're saying is we don't like it, and we want you to keep it this way. Yet, if you look at the city, there's a lot of places you could condemn in this town. You guys know it. This is not a rich. Sorry, it's legal what they're doing.
Thank you very much. Somebody else? If you'd state your name and your address, please.
My name is Greg Heil. I live at 1811 Shady Lane. I'm not here to talk about visual impairment of this building. I am here to talk about the codes that we have in place and the size of the building. And the opening statement of the conditional use permit says, the proposed conditional use is compatible with adjacent existing uses and other allowed uses in the zone district. Such compatibility shall be expressed in terms of appearance, architectural scale, and features, site design, and scope, landscaping, as well as the control of adverse impacts, including noise, vibration, smoke, fumes, gas, dust, and so on. I don't think 1,600 square feet meets any metal building, meets any of these first statements in this conditional use code. Therefore, I'm asking you not to approve this conditional use. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public that would like to comment? City Council did receive each and every one of us written statements from Mr. Diamond, of course, from 1818 Center Street, Suzanne Farley, 1810 Rolling Road, Jerry Burney, 1918 Rolling Road, Anthony Valdez, no address given, and Carol Savory, 2019 Rolling Road, all in opposition of the building permit.
Yeah, the only other thing I was gonna add based on public comment was, referring back to that decision-making criteria that the previous speaker brought up to you guys. That seems like something applicable. You guys could make a decision. That seems like criteria you guys could use to make a decision. That first one from conditional use permits. I'll pull it up here so you can read it. Right.
Jason, you know, usually we receive a report from P&Z, and this time I didn't see one in there. Is it at the end?
Yeah, planning and zoning did not recommend approval.
I have a question, if I may.
Yes.
Mr. and Mrs. Franchini, it appears that you have 4 lots there, is that correct? And so that's quite a bit of square footage as far as lots go, and it sounds like it's been in your family a while. I'm just throwing out ideas here or asking. Is it possible that you would consider moving the structure to the lower southern end of your problem?
No, that would be fine too. As long as I can put it somewhere on the west side of my house along Rolling Road, there's, I think it's 400 and some feet by 70 some feet that I have room to play in.
Right.
We need you to come to the mic if you speak. It's all being recorded. So, could you repeat that for Mr. Franchini, what you just said?
Didn't hear what you said. Yeah, that is a dead end road. Past my house, it stops. There's a fence there. I think the neighbors might have a gate through their place to get onto Tucker Lane, but there's no access through that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, I have some problems with it. We don't have a complete, it's incomplete from what we have in front of us. If we were going to move it to a different lot, and we can table this, or we can go ahead and discuss it right now. What is council?
Well, I want to make some comments. Like most times with something like this, the information I received doesn't do it full justice. I had to go out there to visually look at this, and what I notice is you have the Franchini house that sits up on a hill, and then their 2 lots drop down, so it's lower. And then I walked over to Knoll Ave at, I think the address was 1702, and kind of stood up there, and you've got that large wood fence to the south. And, you know, I looked around the surrounding neighborhood and tried to visualize this building, and I think all of us can look at what a steel building is. We all have our own perception. You can have a basic corrugated steel building, and then you can have a steel building that looks like an example I would use is Gopher West, that, you know, looks fairly attractive. So this is where I think conditional use is made for something like this. And the reason I say it is they could construct 2 800 square foot buildings with no public hearing, as long as they had the permits. To me, it makes sense to consolidate those instead of having, you know, the standard code and distance for having them separated. as long as it meets all the codes, and that's what I'm hearing, you know, this would meet everything. So, you know, I'm in favor of this, because I think that's what conditional use is for, as long as everything is met with our code.
My only disagreement in that is the surrounding area. Because of the size, to have two 800, you'd have to abide by the distance from each lot line for each side. So it would like be a similar layout on each plat as the rest of the community. And reading the design, to me, it made me think about barn dominiums and future use. I have no doubt in my mind that you guys want to use it the way you intend to use it. Future use, it could end up being a barn dominium or a commercial workshop, because I assume it'll be built in perpetuity of that property, not just for 10 years or so. And that would change the structure of the R1 community that you live in. So beyond our lifetime, I'm thinking about the impacts on the neighborhood, and I do think that would change it significantly. And I disagree respectfully with Councilman Lewis that I think it does go against the conditional use in that it doesn't reflect the rest of the R1 zone surrounding that area.
So would you consider perhaps tabling this for now, have that redrawn in a way that maybe is more logical to what we're trying to say, without just saying, yeah, I'll do that, but have it actually redrawn?
Oh, certainly. If the build was not crossing the lot lines and compliant in the conditional code, I think that could be readdressed. We're still looking at if it's compliant within the section that Mr. Armstrong highlighted. But yeah, I mean, definitely could take for new design.
And perhaps a visual of what it's actually going to look like. Maybe that would make things more clear. Okay, so maybe Mike has a picture of that.
Mayor and council, respectfully, that's not on the record, and
Yeah,
we
we're
can't
gonna
really
have to
have
take
you
a picture
consider
of that and
that.
put it on the record if we need
There
to.
really needs to be something actually submitted by.
Go ahead.
Boy, this is, I think, a quandary in many ways. Those of you who are speaking against it are extremely concerned about what you believe to be your quality of your life and your views and your investments. On the other hand, as I too have traveled, I traveled down that road specifically to look at the site and see what was suggested. And when you get to the end of Rolling Road down there, you've got a pretty much semi-rural situation down there. There's no other properties down there that are directly there. I know yours is across the street, and I'm hearing that, but the law, your case under law doesn't. I mean, it's just not there as far as having a view and it obstructing your view. One thing I might offer is that this is going to be used for personal use. This is for personal use. This is not, it may be an industrial business, but or industrial building in look like, but it's personal use, and you can't move a business in there unless that gets rezoned as far as that, or there is another conditional use that's applied at that point in time. So that's one thing to take into consideration. With these 4 lots, that's a significant piece of property, and I'm a firm believer in property rights, and while it isn't a subdivision, I don't see that this really steps outside of the use of that. However, on a neighborly basis, it might be worth consideration. Instead of trying to have somebody put together 2 small buildings, which it sounds great, but it increases your costs of building, it just turns the whole thing out of proportion. I'm just throwing out ideas here. I'm just trying to find maybe a possible consideration would be to move it to the end, to the south end, where it's not so much in your space. And that might be a very reasonable, workable situation where you get what you need and you get the best of what you can get. And I'm just trying to make this work for everybody. But I do believe you have a right as a property owner. And this is what the whole idea with having the conditional use permits is based on. It's like looking at an individual situation. So that would be my thought, and I don't, for what that's worth.
I will note that you guys have the ability to place whatever conditions you want on the approval of this if you decide to go that direction. So,
If he's going to put it on a single lot, I want to see what that looks like. I don't want to make a decision without seeing what that looks like. We can make the provision that it's on a single lot, but I really don't think we got all the information we wanted to hear tonight. And I don't know that it was staff's fault, but Councilmember West brought up some information that I was not privy to. And I think this is information that we need. I would like to see this come in front of us in a cleaner package.
Mr. Mayor, I would comment of your options to move this down the road and require, if you table it, that essentially kills it, and they would have to come back with a completely new application and go through planning commission. If you continue it to a date certain, they can amend their application and bring it back for you on that specific date. You do have the option, if they amend their application and you think it's amended to such an extent that the planning commission should be consulted on it, you can require that it go back to the planning commission before it comes back before you on that date certain. But keep in mind there are differences between a tabling and a continuance, and a tabling would require new public notifications and new application fees and all of that. It's essentially starting over again, which is one of your options, to require that, and just tell them what they need to do to bring it back before you. But continuance keeps it in the loop, so to speak.
Counselor, so I'm hearing that if we continue this to a certain date, and that would be the time that they could either have brought it back to the planning commission again and gone through that route, or they could just bring us a revised plot, and then we could look at it again.
Yes, and it would be up to the council as to whether or not it goes back to planning commission.
Okay.
The revised version, or you can consider the revision not so substantial that it's acceptable to bring it back to you on a date certain. But obviously, if you are picking a date certain and you want it to go back to planning commission, make sure that date is far enough out that the planning department has the opportunity to reschedule it with the planning and zoning commission before it comes back to you.
So how would council members feel about that? I mean, what are the council members' thoughts on that? Would you want them to bring it all the way back to the planning and zoning, or just could they put it on a different plot and bring it back to us?
Patrick, I have a question about the conditional use legalese. Does it consider public comment?
Sure. The whole basis of a conditional use is that it has to go through both P&Z and City Council and a public hearing. And so the public hearing, the purpose of it is to gain additional evidence and testimony regarding the appropriateness or inappropriateness of the application. So, yeah, certainly all the comments you've heard today are part of the record. If you continue the hearing, any additional comments that may be brought in a month or two from now on the date that you continue it would also be part of the record and would be necessary for you to consider before you make your decision.
So just to kind of clarify, we have 10 public comments against this motion, 2 public comments in favor of, along with a staff recommendation to deny.
Yeah, and one thing I would caution you not to rely solely on the number of comments. You need to determine the comments, either pro or con. Are they legitimate? Do they raise issues related to the code? That sort of thing. You know, certainly it's one factor to consider, whether the majority of the comments were in favor of or against, but it shouldn't be the deciding factor.
Could I ask Mr. Franchini to come back up to the microphone? If we continue this, would you be able to supply where you're going to place this on your lot? And could you supply a picture so your neighbors can see what's going on with what you intend on doing?
Yes.
It's not required, but it might make for a better neighborhood.
Yeah, and that's fine. Yeah, I can get a picture. I can see if the company that's gonna build this can send me a photo, but I tried to match the color with the house but I don't have I've got the design drawings for it, but I don't, the dimensionals, but I don't have a picture. But
Okay.
I've got one I could put on there that's similar.
Okay.
That's what's coming up, and move it to a lot to the south.
Thank you. It would be my recommendation to continue this to another date and wait for us to get some information from Mr. Franchini.
I had a question for Mr. Franchini. Do you have any idea how long it would take to receive those drawings?
No, I don't. I'd have to get with the manufacturer.
Okay, if we gave you our June 9th council meeting, do you think that would be enough?
I can try then, yeah. That's almost a month.
Yeah, keep in mind, they have requirements for staff to prepare and post the agenda, which should include these new drawings if you're asking for. So it wouldn't be June 9th, and Jason, you can explain how much in advance you need that.
Okay.
But it might be June 1st, maybe, that staff would need that in order to post the agenda.
Could we just confirm with planning and zoning, is June 1 okay? That's a Monday.
That's fine.
Jason, well, I don't think we should speak for you.
Well, I mean, I'm hearing we're going to go back to planning and zoning with this.
Well, we haven't decided that.
Okay, fair enough. Well,
We may have them just come to us with the new drawings and lot if the rest of the council decides that that's what they want to do.
so we will need the items at least 1 week in advance, 7 calendar days in advance of the council meeting that's decided on, in order to get that into the agenda.
Okay, if you want to get with Mr. Franchini, I think we're going to do this on June 9th if we can. And tell him when you need your information.
Whatever.
Now, is there any more discussion from council?
Mr. Mayor, I would mention that if your decision is to send this back to the P&Z based on what you're anticipating receiving, you may want to bump that date for the council meeting further out so that they could schedule it with P&Z. If your thought is that based on what you're asking for, no additional P and Z review is necessary, then you can stick with your June 1st.
Unless council has some disagreement, I don't think P and Z
No, I,
needs to go back in front of P and Z. Okay, it's going to go directly to us. Go ahead.
I just noticed that our chair of P&Z is here, and would just like to ask him if he thinks it's necessary for a sketch of this to go back, because you're keeping the same height, the same requirements. You're just moving it south to that one lot. I don't see a need to go back to P&Z, but Mr. Remy, if you would please.
Robert Remy, I had a previous meeting I had to get to. I assume public hearing is closed. Did you close the public hearing?
Not really. Not really.
But to answer Bill's question, no, it doesn't need to come back to P&Z. From what I've been hearing, he's going to just move the building further south and on a lot, still have all of the standards and settings that you need, and I think it should go right to you guys.
Thank
Not
you.
delay the process.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Anybody else? I will entertain a motion if we need a motion to continue.
Mr. Chair, I would recommend that you close the public comment portion of the public hearing and then bring it back to council, or to the council members for additional comments and a motion.
Anybody in the public have any further comments that's different from what they've already said? Okay, I'll close the public comment portion, come back to city council.
I move that we require further information, which will be including an additional plot and a rendered drawing or picture of the property, and continue the hearing on the date of, what date did we decide on? June 9th, with all the appropriate paperwork getting to the city 1 week in advance.
I second that motion.
Motion made by Randall, seconded by, is that Swope?
West,
Yes.
Randall, Lewis,
Yes.
Swope,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Sproul.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to item number B, resolution number 10, series 2026, public hearings on an application for a conditional use permit for a permanent accessory structure that exceeds maximum square feet allowed in code for property located at 525 South Market Street, zoned residential multifamily R2. Our presenter is Jason Armstrong.
All right, number 2. So this is City Council Resolution number 10, Series 2026, and we're going to have a public hearing this evening on the application for a conditional use permit for an accessory structure that exceeds the maximum square feet allowed in code for property located at 525 South Market Street, zone residential multifamily R2. So Arla and Asha Moore are requesting a conditional use permit to construct an addition to an existing garage on their property located at 525 South Market Street. Accessory buildings that are proposed to be larger than 800 square feet are required to obtain a conditional use permit. So planning department findings, the property is zoned residential multifamily R2 and is surrounded on 3 sides with R2 zone properties with mixed residential R3 to the east, all with predominantly residential uses. The proposed addition will increase the garage to 1,080 square feet. The structure and the addition are to be used for personal storage according to the applicant. As a reminder to council and the community, the use of the structure as stated by the applicant is consistent with the accessory uses allowed in R2 zoning. If a new use such as commercial is contemplated in the future, the property owner will need to obtain the proper permits. The existing garage is legal non-conforming as it already exceeds the 800 square foot threshold. This means it's a grandfathered structure. So the issuance of the conditional use permit will actually cure that nonconformity. Beyond the total square footage that would be addressed by the conditional use permit, the structure as proposed meets all the dimensional standards for R2 zone properties, including height, lot coverage, and setbacks from property lines. I'll also note in closing that the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval of the conditional use permit. I'll close out that with the staff findings and move on to your alternatives. So the first one, council can approve the conditional use permit through Resolution 10, Series 2026 for a permanent accessory structure that exceeds the maximum square footage allowable at property located at 525 South Market Street in residential multifamily R2 zone as submitted by Arla and Asha Moore, or the council can recommend denial of the application for the conditional use permit and state its reasons. Or council can ask for more information and continue the hearing to a date certain, or it can table the application. Or council can approve resolution number 10, series 2026, a resolution approving the conditional use permit with conditions as stated in the resolution, and state any conditions it feels will be necessary to ensure compliance with the land use code. So let's see here. You guys are looking at a map. So basically they're going to be adding on that 400 square foot addition right to the back of the existing garage. Here's the applicant's site plan as they submitted it right here, so you can get a better idea of that. So based on the objective findings, staff can recommend to council to approve Resolution 10, Series 2026 with the conditions as stated in the resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I would caution the council in this instance. I know it's tempting to say, well, as we saw with the previous application, blah, 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 and try not to introduce into the record for this application any reference to a prior application. I think that would be preferable. You can ask similar questions and that sort of thing, but I wouldn't compare applications that are, especially one that's still pending in the case of the previous application.
And I don't believe I see the applicants here this evening for whatever reason.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
So you're adding on a 45 by 24 foot building, which is 1,080 square foot, onto an existing building that is greater than 800 square foot at this point in time.
Yeah.
Is that correct? So you're going to have a single structure there that's at least 1,880 square foot?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the proposed size after the additions on there.
Thanks.
Yep.
Does anybody else have any questions? Jason?
Well, now I'm just confused because I thought it was just adding 280 square feet to a total of 1,080. No.
What the existing garage that's there is stated to be exceeding 800 square foot threshold, but it's a legal non-conforming building now, as I'm interpreting this, Jason. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And then we're adding an additional 45 by 24 foot building, which is an additional 1,080 square foot, which is going to be a total of about 1,880, give or take whatever the excess is on the existing garage that's greater than 800.
Existing garage is 880 square feet.
Okay.
And they're adding 400.
So that's going to be 1960.
No, 800 plus 400 is 1,200.
1,200.
Hold on, Jason, can you?
1880.
It says in your, under discussion, it says that the existing garage is legal, non-conforming, and it exceeds 800 square foot threshold already. So
Yes.
that's 880 now?
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
as it sits, it is 880.
Okay, so if you add 1,080, which is the one they're proposing, which is 45 by 24, that's 1,080 square foot,
No, that,
plus the
altogether, it's going to be 1,080 square feet. When you add the
1,960 square foot, but that's neither here nor there. 8 and 8 is 16, carry 1, and that's 1,960 square foot.
Jason, can you scroll up just above that
This
rendering?
right here?
Oh, sorry, the paragraph above, because that's where I was getting my information. So the proposed addition will increase the garage to a total of 1080 square feet?
That's what's in the application.
But under the discussion, it's different on the first page. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just a comment I was making, that the existing garage is already out of conformity with.
It's going to be a big garage.
So
It's going to be
I'm
one
seeing. Okay.
total with the addition added to.
Jason, I think your math's incorrect. I think Councilmember Randall is correct that 45 by 24 is 1,080 square feet, added
the
on to the existing 880.
Yeah, the application said 1840. So it's possible there's a discrepancy between this site plan and what they proposed in their application, which we should definitely clean that up. Sorry
I'm also
about
just
that.
wondering
Apologize
they
for
didn't
that.
draw.
Come, please.
It is, sorry, I just wasn't talking loudly. I'm wondering if they just didn't move the line all the way over maybe, and that the whole entirety is 45 foot? Does
Yeah,
that
it's
help or make
that's
it?
completely possible. Yeah.
Way it looks like we need some,
Yeah, they need
texted
to.
information.
Yeah, the clearly. Yeah, this is not matching up with what their application.
If that line were 40, I just said this to her, so I feel like I have to say it.
Yeah.
If that line were a total of 45 by 24, that would make the total garage
And
1,000.
I'm sure that's what they meant. They just didn't put it on the site plan correctly.
Jason, I think it needs to come back to us, so it's clear. There's too many discrepancies that we,
Yeah, that's fine.
to really make a decision on this.
For sure. Yeah, I'll just have them, I guess, amend the site plan to include that line so it's clear on there. Okay.
Or confirm that the drawing is accurate. That would be the other option, obviously, but.
Everything needs to be right.
Well, this is, yeah, I mean, I know what they proposed in the application. It was 18.
Okay.
Yeah, or 1,080 square feet. So, yeah, it's just the site plan's not very well drawn.
So I move we table this?
Okay.
No? Or
I move we continue this to our next meeting.
It needs to be, it has to come back, right? It has to come back all cleaned up, right?
Yes.
So it has to be tabled, is that correct?
No, the tabling would kill
Table
it.
removes it completely and they have to start over.
Okay, continue then.
Yeah.
Somebody want to make that?
Okay, I'll accept a motion.
Second.
We have to make it.
I move that we table this resolution.
I move
Not
we
table.
continue.
Oh, excuse me, I mean
Yes.
continue. I move
Okay.
that we continue resolution number 10, series 2026 until our next meeting on the 26th.
Now I'll second.
Motion by Swope, seconded by Osborne.
It would be June, May 26th is the next one. Randall?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Osborne?
Yes.
Wolf?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Swope?
Yes.
Sproul?
Yes. And I do want to remind everybody, this is only our second meeting as a council together, and we're going to have a few hiccups, but we're all going to get a bit more fluent. Okay, we're going to go to resolution number, or item number C, resolution number 11, series 2026. Public hearings on an application for an encroachment permit at property located at 906 North Market Street, zoned single-family R1. Our presenter is Jason Armstrong.
Okay, we have City Council Resolution Number 11, Series 2026. So this is a public hearing on an application for an encroachment permit at property located at 906 North Market Street, Zone Single Family R1. So the owners of property located at 906 North Market Street submitted an application for the permit after inadvertently constructing a rock retaining wall into a city alleyway. And you'll see on this, here's the property. This is Carpenter Natural Area, and then this is the 16-foot right-of-way. Let's see, planning department findings. The applicant did give us a rendering. You can see where he did his grading project. You can see the rock wall. It's extending approximately 7.5 feet into that alleyway. Here's a picture from the south of the rock wall, and there's the fence line there for Carpenter. And then this is just a utility map showing where there is a water main line, but it is not impacted by the encroachment. So a little bit more about this area here. You can see that Empire Electric has overhead service power lines running through the alley. Atmos Energy also has utilities in the alleyway. However, Atmos Energy's main gas line starts at Driscoll Street, which is just south of this, and it terminates right here at the Schaefer's property line and turns into the service line for that residence. We did put this out for referral comments to the utility providers, and nobody reported back indicating that they had any concerns with the rock wall as it sits. The wall is dry stacked, so the applicant has indicated it'll be easy to remove. And the City of Cortez Public Works Department maintains the alley, all private and public utility easements, and any city infrastructure located in it. Our Public Works Department expressed no concerns with the encroachment beyond ensuring there were no conflicts with our utility partners. Your alternatives tonight, closing out staff findings. The council can approve the encroachment permit through resolution number 11, series 2026 on property located at 906 East Market Street, zone single family R1, as submitted by Theodore Schaefer. Council can deny approval of the application for the encroachment permit and state its reasons. Council can ask for more information and continue the application to a date certain, or table the application, or council can approve the encroachment permit through resolution number 11, series 2026, and state any conditions it feels would be necessary to ensure compliance with the land use code. So based on the findings, staff can recommend that council approve resolution number 11, series 2026, with the conditions as stated in the resolution, and the property owner is present. Would you like to speak? Okay. So if you have any questions for him, he's here.
I just want to clarify that it'll stay a dry stack. There won't be any concrete or glue or anything like that.
No, it's characterized as a rock wall, but it's a riprap of a slope, and it's dry. And the mistake I made was got over the easement line, but I should have gotten a permit or whatever to riprap that slope, looking back, and I did not. Therefore, in the event that something has to come through the right-of-way, it can be easily moved with a skid steer or something and put back at my expense.
That was my next question, was knowing that there's only 8.5 feet now between that and the fence, are there any concerns about utility vehicles, fire trucks, anything like that getting through that passageway if need be? And sorry, that's maybe not directed to you, maybe.
Yeah, we didn't receive any concerns, and the fire department is definitely on the list. for comment on this. But what I will say is, if you look at the conditions that we are currently proposing for this approval, the first one is a utility or government possessing an easement over and under private land has the right to restrict uses by the servient estate owners, which is the property owners, that may be inconsistent with easement holders' reasonable use of the easement for its intended purposes. To the extent the landscaping restricts the reasonable use of any easement held by a utility company or the city, it can be removed without any obligation by the utility company or the city to repair or replace it. So basically, the applicant understands that if it needs to get taken out, it'll get taken out. I would imagine that if it's a utility, they would probably reach out to the applicant ahead of time and try to work with them on it.
Do we have any comment from the public? Absolutely.
Maybe it wasn't clear, but Atmos Energy uses that alleyway coming up from my neighbor to my property line. And there's no gas service past my house. There's nothing to be built. It's the carpenter. So Atmos will never bury a line behind my house. The two utility poles are on opposite ends of the lot, and they've already been accessed, even with the slope and the riprap. They came in on one end to install a new utility transformer, and on the other end, they came in to take the old utilities transformer down. So, and then Empire sent their engineer out. Empire has no problem. They got full access to both poles.
Sounds like you've already had trucks going back and through there, so it sounds like it's all accessible. Thank you.
Yeah, the comments, I did put the comments in your report directly from Empire Electric. So they went out and confirmed that they are still able to access the power line as needed.
I went out there as well and looked at that, and I'm so glad that you explained that with the utilities, because it seemed like there was adequate space for them to access that. Also, it's very clear that you're willing to bear those expenses, and I agree. It's just rock stacked at maybe like a 30-degree angle or something like that, not much at all. So it wouldn't take much work to clear that if needed. So if there's no more...
Let's close it to the public. Is there any more public opinion or comment? Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I would point out that City Manager Sanders recommended a condition that was included in the resolution that requires the applicant to record the conditional use permit and any related documentation with the county clerk's office, so that if he sells the property, a new owner will understand that they are subject to this conditional use and the conditions in the resolution.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. I did see that. And I think the owner right now has made it perfectly clear that he will bear the cost and he will move it if need be. I was a little bit skeptical on whether or not it was an accident. We've had him come in here and beg for forgiveness, thinking it was easier than getting a permit. But I truly believe this was an accident, and it's not impeding on anything. And so I'll accept a motion now.
Mr. Mayor, I move that City Council approve Resolution Number 11, Series 2026, a resolution approving an encroachment permit on the property located at 906 North Market Street, Zone Single Family 1, R-1, with conditions as stated in the resolution.
I second that motion.
Motion made by Lewis, seconded by West.
Wolf?
Yes.
Randall?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Swope?
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Sproul.
Yes. Moving on to item number D, ordinance number 1365, series 2026, request to appropriate housing planning grant program, HPLN, grant funds into the fiscal year of 2026 operating budget. Presenter is Jason Armstrong.
Okay, next up we have City Council Ordinance number 1365, Series 2026. So in February of 2026, the Department of Local Affairs awarded the City of Cortez $33,750 for its application to the Housing Planning Grant Program. The corresponding match requirement of $11,250 has already been appropriated for 2026 under the Community Economic Development Department budget. Therefore, we are requesting to appropriate the awarded funding into the 2026 budget in order to immediately implement the project. Just a little bit of a brief overview on the use of the grant. While there are several required elements per Colorado's Comprehensive Plan statute, the emphasis of the project initiated through this grant addresses a new state law, SB 24-174. Colorado municipalities are mandated to develop a water supply element and a strategic growth element for their comprehensive plans by December 2026, updating these at least every 5 years. So the goal of this project is to integrate water assessment and planning within government land use decisions amid ongoing climate concerns and simultaneously guarding against bottlenecks or shortages in housing development. So really, the idea behind these two elements, according to the legislative intent, is to address water as it pertains to affordable housing. So the HPLN grant funds will enable us to hire a consultant specializing in strategic growth and water supply to shape these elements for integration into our forthcoming comprehensive plan effort and meet the state's deadline. I did provide an overview of comprehensive plans and the city's comprehensive plan in my memo to council on this item. So recommendation from staff recommends that council approve our request to appropriate the awarded grant funds into the 2026 budget through the second reading of ordinance number 1356, series 2026, an ordinance adopting the appropriation of $33,750 from the state HPLN grant program into the 2026 operating budget for the city as set forth in the ordinance.
Any comments from council? Questions?
I mentioned this at first reading. It just makes total sense to move this money into our operating budget so we can move forward with this.
I'll move that the city council approve in second reading.
Sorry, Mayor, if we can we need a public hearing first.
Sorry.
Public hearing. Okay, anybody in the public have anything you want to say? Okay, go ahead.
Now I'll do the motion. I move that the, no, you still have to?
I just did.
Again? Okay.
Now you start over.
I move that the city council approve on second reading ordinance number 1365, series 2026, an ordinance adopting the appropriation of $33,750 from the state HPLN grant program into the 2026 operating budget for the city as set forth in the ordinance.
I second that.
Motion made by Osborne, seconded by Swope.
Wolf,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Randall,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Swope,
Yes.
Sproul.
Yes. Going to item number 6, which is unfinished business. We have none. Item number 7, new business. 7A, a letter of support for Homes Fund. Council will consider authorizing the mayor to sign a letter of support on behalf of the Council for Homes Fund's application to the Housing Affordability Breakthrough Challenge. Our presenter is Jason Armstrong.
Okay, Just a little bit of background on this one. The Homes Fund is a local 501c3 nonprofit and is a certified community development financial institution and a HUD-approved housing counseling agency. The organization has been serving Southwest Colorado since 2008. The mission of the Homes Fund is to support Southwest Colorado by creating and managing affordable housing programs and providing residents and local workforce with financial tools, resources, and knowledge needed to achieve and sustain homeownership. The Homes Fund intends to apply for the Housing Affordability Breakthrough Challenge grant collaboration between Wells Fargo Bank and the Enterprise Community Partners. This award is for $2 million grant over 2 years, and if awarded, the funding would support the Homes Fund Down Payment Assistance Program for households between 80.1% and 120% area median income, which is our missing middle. This is a highly competitive national grant with only 10 organizations awarded nationwide. There are no fiscal impacts to the city of Cortez, and the letter included in the agenda packet was drafted by staff from the Homes Fund and from the city. So recommendation is Council grant Mayor Dennis Spruill authorization to sign the letter of support for the Homes Fund grant application.
Anybody have any questions of Jason? Don't need public comments, so I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the city authorize the mayor to sign the letter of support for Homes Fund application to the Housing Affordability Breakthrough Challenge.
I second.
Second.
Motion by West, seconded by Lewis.
Swope,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Randall,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Roll.
Yes. Moving on to item 7B, ordinance number 1366, series 2026, approval of ordinance 1366, series 2026, an ordinance accepting the Colorado Energy Office e-cargo bike grant award and appropriating of funds for the police department e-cargo bike fleet expansion. Our presenter is Chief of Police Vernon Knuckles.
I have a conflict of interest involving this agenda item, so I will be recusing myself and leaving council chambers.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I'm here to speak on Ordinance 1366, Series 2026. The Cortez Police Department applied for a $23,500 grant from the Colorado Energy Office to purchase and deploy some more e-bikes. What we're looking to purchase, if approved, are 4 Surly skid loader e-cargo bikes. They're industrial grade, safety certified, and built specifically for police e-bike fleets. We'll also purchase safety equipment, upfitting lights and stuff for the bikes, some heavy duty bike racks to hold the weight of the e-bikes, which we had not anticipated in the past, the weight of electric bikes. So we'll upgrade the bike racks and bags for each of the bikes to hold gear. Some things that council needs to know about the funding is the grant is a reimbursement grant, so the city will have to pay for the bikes up front and be reimbursed. The approximate cost, and the invoice cost was $23,347 and 96 cents, so which is below the grant award. Any funds that are left over will be returned to the state. And important to know that the net cost to the city is zero once the reimbursement is made. The timeline, the vendor is Cycle Erie. They hold the inventory in-house, so once the purchase is made, the bike should be available. You know, at 4 to 6 weeks I have down, and that's stretching it. So we should be able to have the bikes, put these bikes into service within a month and a half, so pretty quick. That's pretty much, it's pretty simple. We got the grant. We would need to appropriate the funds because the funds weren't budgeted in this budget cycle. So we would need to appropriate the funds to make that purchase, and then those funds would be reimbursed when the state reimburses the city.
Is there going to be any training involved that you're going to have to do?
So no training other than certified bike patrol, which is currently going on as this week. We're certifying, I think there's 6 more officers that we're certifying as bike patrol officers. There's no special certification for pedal bikes versus e-bikes.
So how many officers will you have trained in bikes?
So I know we have 6. I don't know the exact number of officers that are currently trained, but I would say that there's probably at least 6 that are already trained.
So I noticed the anticipated costs were a little more than the ongoing costs were a little bit more. Or maybe I misread that.
So the ongoing costs should be just maintenance on the bikes, which the police department can budget from year to year to take care of. It should be very minimal.
Awesome. What are the extended savings anticipated?
So the anticipated savings are approximately 4 hours of gas-operated vehicles per officer per shift. We currently have 2 e-bikes. We'll get 2 more. So, you know, we could save, you know, I mean, it's not a huge amount, but it's enough. And I think the other benefit is just the community awareness and getting the officers out on bikes. They're more approachable. They get around the parks. They get around, they're really good around Third Thursday and things like that. Parades, they can ride down. They can do traffic on Main Street. And, you know, they don't have a vehicle sitting there idling or taking up space or whatever. So there's an operational benefit to that. They are very seasonal. We live in Colorado. So there is some reporting requirements. It's a 6-month reporting period. So we'll probably try to get as much data as we can until winter, because the 6 months will probably take us into some cold weather, things like that. So.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to point out that the ordinance that is in the agenda packet incorrectly states the dates for the hearings. It indicated that first reading was on April 28th, when in fact tonight is the first reading of this ordinance, and the public hearing will be May 26th. So keep that in mind, that there's no public hearing tonight. And it is first reading, and if you choose to set the public hearing and pass this along, it would be for the May 26th meeting.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions of the chief? I have a statement. I went through that bicycle program many, many years ago, and we had to use pedals. And that was
Yes, we did.
We were together.
Yes.
I'll accept a motion.
I move that the City Council approve on first reading ordinance number 1366, Series 2026, an ordinance that accepts a $23,500 grant award from the Colorado Energy Office e-cargo bike grant program and authorizes appropriation of the same amount to cover the purchase of 4 electric cargo bikes and associated equipment pending state reimbursement, and authorize the Cortez Police Department to execute the state's small dollar grant purchase order and proceed with procurement, and set the public hearing and second reading of the ordinance for May 26, 2026.
I second.
Motion made by West, seconded by Wolf.
Swope,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Randall, Sproul.
Yes.
Thank you, council.
Ms. Osborne can join us again. Moving on to item number 7C, consideration of possible lease of City of Cortez surplus municipal and industrial MI water to Dolores Water Conservancy District, DWCD. The City of Cortez will consider leasing surplus M&I water to DWCD. Our presenter is City Manager Drew Sanders.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. As you know, the Dolores Water or River watershed and the broader western region are currently experiencing a very severe drought. Persistent below average precipitation and elevated temperatures have significantly reduced the amount of water supplies throughout the region, placing a substantial strain on agricultural water users. As you recall, our last meeting, we heard from Ken Curtis, who is the general manager of DWCD, who mentioned that we are fine on the M&I side, and I want to be very careful when I say fine, we're okay. We're not going to dry up, but in the meantime, what is suffering is the agricultural side, and this shortfall poses a significant threat to our crop yields and the economic viability of farming operations in the region. So, Ken Curtis of DWCD has formally approached the City of Cortez to inquire whether we would be willing to lease any surplus plus M&I water to DWCD for the 2026 irrigation season. The intent of the lease would be to make additional water available for diversion to agricultural purposes, therefore helping it to offset the shortfall experienced by the agricultural water user within our district. The City of Cortez has reviewed and considered the lease on this, and we have concluded that this we do have surplus water and this is appropriate. This decision reflects the city's commitment to regional cooperation and its recognition of the vital role of the agricultural community and that it plays in our economic and cultural fabric here in the greater Cortez area. The city views this collaboration as consistent with our values of responsible resource stewardship and community partnership. As I mentioned, we're proposing leasing 1,000 acre-feet of M&I water to DWCD at the rate of $20.32 per acre-foot. And then if the council agrees with this, it would still need to be ratified by the DWCD board, which I believe their meeting is on Thursday of this week. With that, council, I am open to any questions you have.
I think this is a great idea to partner and help out agriculturally. I just want assurances because this is a year that we're probably going to need to tap in to keep some of our parks going, our golf course, et cetera. So when I hear there's a surplus, I need some assurances, you know, how much of a surplus are we talking about? And we don't even know how much we're going to have to tap in at this point. Am I correct?
Correct. So even with surplus, meaning in this case, it's just water that we normally would not use. At our highest use case during the summer, we still do not touch this. And so therefore, it really just sits in the reservoir. We don't use it. In this case, it would not be used anyway by us, even given this year. I mean, yes, it's warmer earlier and everything, but we are not going to be using this much more. And this, by the way, is not all of the, I don't want to be careful again, surplus or extra water that we have. This is just a very safe amount that we can lease to them and that would otherwise just be left behind and unused by us.
Has this been done before?
You know what? Not during my time here, but I have heard of it. I believe Ken Curtis is here, and he could probably tell you better than I could.
Welcome back, Ken. Thanks for coming.
We're going to adopt him.
Is it there? There we go. How's that? Mayor, councilors, thank you. Drew, thank you. This has been done at least once before. It's been several years, and I believe it was 2018 or before.
Thank you. And then is this agreement just for 1 year?
That's correct. All our allocations are on an annual basis. I mean, the whole precept of the reservoir, the project, the allocations are annually. And that surplus was good discussion. It's a water accounting thing, given Cortez's senior water rights. So this would just be 1 year. And I guess without being asked, what it does is allow us to add a little bit of a boost early to our farmers who are looking at that 3.1 inches. I was just looking at our newest forecast numbers after May 1st. I think it's going to edge up to a big 3.2 inches per acre. This would allow about 2/10 to our farmers up north. And one of the things they do on these shorter years is kind of plan as best they can. It's real dicey. I had a farmer today ask, hey, if I lease this person's property with the water, are you going to up the allocation a couple of tenths? And I said, well, tonight I'm going to see the city of Cortez. That would be the first bump. The second bump, hopefully with the June forecast. Rafting weekend. Peak flows probably Thursday, last peak of the year, probably coming up. Hopefully by June 1st, we'll see another 10th or so come in with a slightly increased forecast.
City Manager, this money that we're going to be making is not a lot of money, but will it go back into our water projects here in Cortez?
Yeah, it would go directly into the Water Enterprise Fund. So, and we don't have a use for it. It'll just go in as unused revenue at this point and just go into the fund. We have no plans to use it.
Anybody else have any questions? Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it once again.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor West, thank you for your question.
I move to authorize the city manager to coordinate with the Dolores Water Conservatory District, DWCD, regarding the lease of the city's surplus M&I water, and to formalize the terms of the lease agreement, including the volume of water to be leased, applicable timelines, and any necessary legal or regulatory requirements, and to sign the lease agreement on behalf of, for the city of Cortez.
I second that motion.
Motion made by Randall, seconded by Swope.
Osborne,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Randall,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Swope,
Yes.
Sproul.
Yes. Going on to item number 8 is draft resolution ordinances. We have none. Number 9, City Attorney's Report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would report once again that I believe in the past I've mentioned that we're doing a mediation regarding current litigation on a road issue, and that mediation will occur day after tomorrow. So hopefully by the next meeting, I'll have a indication whether we settled it or not.
Thanks. I was waiting with bated breath for that. Anybody have any questions of our city attorney? Going on to item number 10, city manager's report.
No report this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Number 11 is city council committee reports.
The Golf Course Advisory Committee met on May 1st. We did not have a quorum, so just reports were given. The Golf Pro talked about the junior programs that are being offered there, such as First Tee and the junior program, ways to stimulate new golfers coming in. Also mentioned some of the tournaments coming up in June and latter part of May. Creighton Wright, the Parks and Rec director, mentioned that the golf survey has been closed in April, and at next meeting we'll be looking at the results from that, and just talked about the golf course conditions.
All right, I have a small arts committee report. The Streetscape Art Park is officially taking applications for any artists who are wanting to apply to have their art displayed there. That was all.
Where do they go to do that? Do you know?
Their website, which is www.streetscapesparks.com.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 11A, which is a mayor's report on the workshop. Council members and members from planning and zoning received training from Sam Light. Mr. Light is the general counsel for our insurance carrier, CIRSA, which is the acronym for Colorado Intergovernmental Risk Sharing Agency. The training concentrated on prevention services that help manage risks. Going on to item 11B, other board reports, we have none. Item 12 is public participation. Individuals may not comment on items that are on the council agenda during the public participation time. There is no limit to the number of speakers and no overall time limit. Speakers have a time limit of 3 minutes per person, may only speak once, and may not cede time to another commenter. Does anybody in the public have any comments? Item number 13. Other items of business. This is a time that if a city councilman has a burning desire to say something to the rest of the council members, would be a good time to do that. Does anybody have any statements or questions?
Yes.
Go for it.
I participated in the Heritage Walk, the downtown one. Boy, they sold out. I mean, it was free, but it was packed. There were more people came than they could accommodate. It was a blast. We went, there was another gentleman who was older than I, and he and I were able to fill in some information for our host as we walked around, and people were really animated and very interested, and it was kind of nostalgic and also modern in the sense that how different Main Street is, but how we still have Main Street. So, and I encourage anyone who has not visited our Heritage Museum, it is a jewel. You're really missing out on something if you haven't been there. And they had that day, they were churning butter for kids. So it was very engaged. So it's a beautiful place, and the people are very lovely there. So if you have a chance to stop by, please do so.
I will add that this is only the second time this city council has met, and we're all a little bit disorganized, but yet we're all thinking and working, and it's only going to get better. I really appreciate the participation of the new council members. They're all doing a fantastic job. And here's an important part. I will take a motion for adjournment.
Oh, we had a quick,
Yep, go ahead.
forgot to mention this in the consent thing, but the memo for Doobie Sisters cited Mountain Annie, not Doobie Sisters. And I think that needs to be updated in the police report. It said the police report shows Mountain Annie's is in compliance with marijuana licensing code, and it should be Doobie Sisters or Sunshine.
And is that on the?
It was part of the consent agenda 2C. I meant to make a comment earlier.
Was that just in the memo, or was that in the?
It was just in the memo.
The memo.
Yeah, if we could speak afterwards and I can get specifically what you're talking about.
Okay.
Thank you.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
Motion made by West and seconded by Wolf.
Osborne,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Randall,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Swope,
Yes.
Yes.
Sproul.
Yes. Meeting's adjourned.